Welcome to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor. I'm really pleased to have Kjirstin Breure with me once again. She's the CEO, of course, the CEO, President CEO, and currently the chair. She chairs the board of directors of Hydrogen Clean Power. Thank you so much for joining me, Kjirstin.
And thank you for having me, Jay.
It's really good to have you. We were going to have Tom Eldgridge, your director of business development, with us today. He's under the weather, so I'm planning to talk to him in a couple of weeks from now, perhaps. But so you've had a pretty eventful few weeks, it seems, as though, Kjirstin. Share
Yeah.
price has really performed very nicely.
hmm
Boy, it makes all of us that bought in at much lower prices very happy.
hmm
But if that's all there was, a share price, it wouldn't be anything to celebrate. We see great things in the future for this company, which is why even though my account is up dramatically, way beyond my dreams, honestly, when I first purchased shares, um, it's not time to take profit in my view. So you put out a shareholder letter just yesterday. I thought it was really excellent in terms of saying, really informing investors where you are now, where the company is now, and where you hope to be by the end of 2026. Perhaps you could just go over that, sort of just give our viewers an overview of major points that you made in your shareholder letter.
Sure. And I might start off by saying, I did get some questions on that. And maybe just to clarify, I think I've been very clear about what I see as the strategy for the company.
Mhm.
All of those points that I've made are still true. We are sometimes a little bit tied with just a Canadian disclosure policy. So
Mm.
some of the wording that we used is really fine-tuned for Canadian regulations, just to kind of caveat that. For one, NASDAQ is still our intent. We have not submitted our application. We are very, very hard at work on that application,
Mhm.
and we are still quite confident that we will be able to list by Q1. Very likely February, safe to say Q1.
Mm.
I will say again, I think it's our natural home. As much as, everyone knows I'm Canadian, the company started in Canada. It's just much more resource focused. And I really think that with the access to capital and just greater liquidity on NASDAQ, I believe that we will perform very well. So all of that's still in the works. We have, in my opinion, a very strong expression of interest from
Mhm.
the US military. I am looking forward to a formal update from them as soon as that's in hand, and assuming that they agree that I can disclose, I certainly will do so.
Mm.
So all of the things that we're working on are really progressing very well. And perhaps I'll also clarify the scale up plans that we have, because I think that
Yes.
there's a lot of moving pieces. And just to again explain really what we're working on, I will say that the large scale production facility, it is admittedly taking a little bit longer than we thought. There is certainly no problem. I wish I could really explain the moving pieces right now. I'm not entitled to, but as soon as I can, HydroGraph will plan a webcast, and I'll really explain what brought us here, really what that slight delay has been meaning. And when we're putting everything together, so we have a headquarters in Austin that
Mhm.
will have a corporate presence. We will have a control room in Austin where we will be able to remotely monitor and manage all of the future production facilities. So it is very much production related, though we will have limited production actually happening in Austin. More of a demo site where we can show customers, investors, really how we're using our technology. And of course, continued innovation on those reactors, larger designs, and really just experimentation on new materials, new graphene types, and then, of course, in using graphene. And then the large scale production facility, we are looking at roughly a 70,000 square foot facility.
Mm.
This will be designed to expand. The budget right now for reactors is about five. So what we're looking at right now, just to keep everything, as much as I would love to create bigger and bigger reactors, um, we have done that a number of times. We have done it a number of times very well, but there is always a little bit of fine tuning that goes along with that, just to make sure that we have increased production. The safer path is to use what we have that's de-risked, it's fully commercialized. So we will move forward with the current version, the 10-ton,
No,
while
okay.
we work on the 20-ton. So the 20-ton is, our team is hard at work on the 20-ton, let's say 20 to 25. We are confident we can do 25, but until we have it built, I would prefer that we have a range just because I would like to see the data in those production cycles. But regardless, roughly 2 times the capacity of the current version. We do need time using that reactor
Mm-hmm.
before we're going to rapidly deploy it, before we're going to be building 10, 20, 30 of these units.
Yeah.
We need more time using that, and it's not built yet. We're in the final design stages. All of that is moving forward. And really, with this larger unit or this larger facility, we're really building these reactors due to customer demand. We're not in a situation where we have to fill it with 15, 20 or more reactors. So
Mm-hmm.
planned budget for 5, we'll build more as needed. And really, with this facility coming online, we are predicting this construction to go through 2026. We have lots of contingencies if we need to be producing additional graphene in advance of that. But we are also very confident internally that this is going to be tied very strongly to customer demand. And we have our reactor working full time now in Kansas. So we are producing really at a rate now of about just shy of 1 ton per month. And we're
Mm-hmm.
building 2 additional reactors really as we speak. So it's all systems go. We are hiring as quickly as we can. We're doing really everything as quickly as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that that creates enough clarity around those scale up plans.
Right. I know there's been some frustration expressed by not many, but a few here and there investors who would like to see it
Mhm.
get everything done yesterday, and it's normal.
Understandably.
It's normal,
Mhm.
but things generally do take longer than you expect or you hope.
Mhm.
So I think you mentioned in your letter that you're now with the 2 new reactors that are coming online that you can produce about 30 tons a year at that rate.
Yes, and the limiting factor there is the access to acetylene
Hmm.
because we are using micro bulk packs, so that's 9 acetylene cylinders, and we are really limited per regulations around acetylene.
Sure.
We could build additional units, of course, but we're not allowed to get the amount of acetylene that we need to run them. So
Yeah.
once we have Austin online, we will complete the code path. So that means we're building the same containment system outside for those micro bulk packs. We need approval from the fire marshal. All of these things, just to be very explicit, are subject to delays that are really outside of our control. So
Sure.
while we do those,
Regulatory. Yeah.
exactly. There's just always the chance when we're looking at permits, when we're looking at a new code path, even if it's the same code path we've used in another region,
Hmm.
there's always the chance that there's some questions. We have to go back and forth, and we all know how long things can take with the government. So we are really going as quickly as we can, but it's not always up to us.
It's a learning curve for the regulators as well because this is a brand new technology. People aren't used to this. Uh, Kjirstin, you mentioned, I think in the letter, though, looking forward to the end of 2026,
Mhm.
substantially more capacity. In fact, I started to think about your discussion previously about the minimum charge per ton.
Mhm.
I think you said something like 350 tons a month, possibly, would have that capacity once everything is built out. Do I have that right?
Annually.
Annually.
Annual
Oh,
capacity,
annually.
which I
Okay.
would say is
Oh,
a lot
okay.
is a lot of graphene.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're selling hundreds of tons annually, the company is doing very, very well.
Right.
And of course, we do expect it to be significantly more than that. There are multiple customers that at full commercialization would be at thousands. It would
Hmm.
take multiple years to get to that point. So there's really no scenario where we're expecting thousands of tons imminently, but we are absolutely confident we will reach that at a certain point.
Right. And you had indicated in the past that probably composites and coatings, that sort of thing, would be the high volume uh,
Mhm.
applications to start with. Is that still your view?
It is.
Okay, so 350 tons per year. That's what you figure your capacity will be once everything is built out in Texas. And then with
Exactly.
the ability to scale up from there if you need to, as need be.
Exactly.
You mentioned in your letter also your new patent that just came on for actuator or for actuator technology.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about that and maybe give some idea of what the applications might be? And it seemed to me, based on that press release, it might be more geared towards military applications or civilian, perhaps. I don't know.
Really, everything. And so what we noticed, just to kind of explain the mechanism that
Mhm.
led to the discovery, and this is from Ranjith Divigalpidia, who's our chief science officer. What we noticed is it's very sponge-like, our graphene. So it is, this aerosol gel. But when
Hmm.
you press on it, when you really try to compact our graphene, it kind of springs back. So
Hmm.
it's about 97% air and it has this spring-like quality,
Oh,
this mild catalytic quality. So what we noticed is that, if we really try to exert pressure on it, it will spring back really like an actuator. So doing
oh,
this in practice, we don't need any electrical charge there. And
oh,
we could, if you imagine these movies, with robotics, and you hear this kind of moving of the of all the parts, we could have that now silent with this invention. So we could have silent actuators. You wouldn't hear this kind of hydraulic
oh.
sound coming from it. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to keep that in a way that's very digestible for the audience. But I think it's
Yeah.
very exciting. There's lots and lots of use cases. This is really the first of its kind, and it's also something that's very unique to our graphene.
So the advantages to the users would be what?
Well, lower energy demands.
Okay.
We think better longevity of the parts.
Uh-huh.
Graphene has this kind of lubricating effect as well. And I think importantly, silence. In a machine where that would be more important,
Hmm.
you could have a completely silent robotic system, at least in terms of those components.
Hmm. You mentioned you've sold graphene to 60 different projects and that they are at various stages that they are the graphene is being tested for those applications and that they are at various stages. So I guess some of those are in the works and could be among the first applications. I think you mentioned medical applications, probably smaller quantities,
Mhm.
but we might start hearing about some of those things 2026, end of this year.
Yes. And our team was just at the K Fair, so I believe a number of samples have gone out. That's a very large composites fair in Germany. So I think the total is now well over 75.
Hmm.
Just for the abundance of caution, we're still using 60 to
60. Yeah.
65. But regardless, extremely exciting. There's a huge amount of companies that are testing our graphene, and we are expecting, as everyone knows, it is a longer development cycle, heavily dependent on the application we're looking at. So at least 2 years for anything that's new, or I shouldn't say at least, it could be closer to 18 months for some situations, but we really should start to see some of these move towards contracts throughout 2026.
Hmm. You did an interview, I believe, with IDG, and I saw some snippets of it this week that
Mhm.
I thought were very interesting. I mean, some very interesting points that are made there.
Mhm.
The interview was much longer than that. I guess it's available now for viewing for the general public at IDG.
It
Yeah.
is, yes.
Okay. But what really gripped me was the critical metals or critical minerals issue, which is such an important issue right now. And I'm just wondering how, with particular with the sp2 bonding characteristics that your graphene has, um, help us understand, if you could, us lay people, how your graphene can really sort of help with critical metals. I mean, I'm thinking, would it be alloyed with metals possibly, or just help us understand how it might work.
Right. Possibly. So there are newer ways to process metals that would be at lower temperatures that could fully integrate graphene inside the metal. There are also ways to um, add coatings of
Mhm.
graphene to different metals. And there, I think the most exciting is creating nanoparticles with whatever critical mineral in addition to graphene and really creating new composite parts. And I think that when we're really looking at the future of, electronics and computing, these really novel combinations are
Mhm.
going to be the future.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because of the characteristics of strength, hardness, conductivity. I'm just wondering, copper is a big demands for copper are projected
Mhm.
to be so much above what is envisioned to be mined in the coming years. I mean, could there be some way to reduce the amount of copper that's required with the conductivity of graphene? I'm just wondering, just as a
I believe
layperson.
so.
Yeah, of
I do believe so. I always want to caution with areas like this. These are newer areas. We
course,
certainly need more research and development, but
of course.
I am confident scientifically that there is a path where we start to use less copper for the same benefit by combining copper with nanomaterials. And
Mhm.
I really think there's a lot of potential, with the work that we could do with critical minerals to really strongly reduce our reliance on them.
I believe you see the U.S. government being a very big, potentially a very big
Mhm.
uh, client, but various aspects of the government. I'm wondering about Department of Energy. As you mentioned, defense, of course, but Department of Energy possibilities. I think I saw recently that the Chinese reportedly they have developed a battery for electric vehicles that would charge in 5 minutes and had 4 times the extension that lithium batteries can provide. I
Mhm.
don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, obviously that's revolutionary because if you can, you know, our family has an electric car in San Francisco and they can't go too far away before they have to spend a whole lot of time to recharge the car to get back home. And so obviously, if the Chinese can do that,
Mhm.
any sense of whether that's true? And um, I'm sure, wondering if there might be some things in the works right now that you can't tell us about. Perhaps we're investigating the potential of your graphene in batteries. I would think so.
We do have a fair amount of data. I would say we're very confident in our ability to improve charge acceptance. Increasing capacity is also possible, but that's an area that we need more data on.
Mhm,
Um, I can't really speak to the exact technology you're referring to, but I mean, I think it's absolutely possible,
mhm.
certainly.
Yeah, I would think that that would be one of the keys, one of the areas that people would be most excited about. Certainly investors would be really excited about it. Okay, so you did the $20 million financing. That will take you, what will that, I guess you're going to use it to build out your new facilities,
Yes.
maybe hire some more scientists. I don't know what all that 20 million might go for. And I would add, I guess if the warrants are exercised, would add another 12 million or so Canadian, we're talking.
Canadian,
Right.
yes.
And
Um,
I think your point is well taken that it's 3%, if I have it right, about 3% dilution. Now, you had to raise money at 16 cents when I first added your name to my newsletter. It would be very painful. But
mhm.
at $2.90 Canadian, it's that gives you some breathing room and also some comfort. I mean, you don't have to rely on buyer financing right away, right?
Right. Exactly. I mean, this is truly the healthiest the company has ever been.
Hmm.
We have a
Strong balance
fantastic
sheet now.
team. We have a very strong balance sheet. We have more than 9 million US in the bank. And
Hmm.
with this additional capital, we will be able to move so much faster. So I know everyone is very cautious about avoiding dilution. I've really tried to do my best to avoid further dilution. But when we look at what we're what we're gaining here. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't think dilution is always really dilution if it's accretive. And this is
Right.
really strongly building the company. We will overwhelmingly be putting this to the Texas expansion. So really building the buildings that we need, hiring the right team to produce there, and then of course building reactors. And apart from that, we'll strongly be expanding our research and development reach within the geek because we've moved now to a larger lab. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
be hiring additional scientists. And importantly, we're going to be building out that Austin headquarters. I think I've said on numerous interviews now I'm really in need of help and now I can hire the right team members, which is amazing because I really eat, sleep, and breathe HydroGraph and it's not
Yes, you
very
do.
sustainable. So I'm really looking forward to, having additional team members in the C-suite and of course continuing to build out our sales team, our engineering team, everything around that. So this is honestly, I think all things considered, and I know that we are looking at dilution, but how quickly we're going to be able to move and how much we're going to accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
I think is absolutely worth this round.
Well, it certainly makes sense to me. I would imagine, though, at some point, as you grow rapidly, you might be looking for offtake financing. Is that still something that you have in mind?
We're
Probably.
now we're now in a place that we have interest coming really from all areas and all types of future financing. So it's a very, like I said, it's a very healthy place to be. We have the benefit of being selective now, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
And I think that as we move forward, we're going to have very, very little dilution, all things considered, especially with our current market cap.
I have to ask you about you put in a poison pill recently, I believe,
Yes.
and so that leads me to wonder what sort of capital structure now, what ownership,
Mhm.
how much do insiders and people close to the company own? Because that's of some concern, of course, in terms of not being abused, taken over at too low a price or whatever. But could you
Mhm.
just comment on that, the poison pill and how it might protect you, and also, who owns the company now? Is it how much is in the hands of retail? How much is in the hands of higher net worth or insiders?
Right. So in terms of inside ownership, I would assume it's less than 5%. It's very difficult to know ownership in Canada. I'm told that on NASDAQ, we do get a little bit more clarity. I believe the NOBO list is larger. In Canada, it's about 20%. So
Oh,
I
okay.
can see less than 20% of any holding. And I assume it's still mostly retail, though now we do have significant institutional buying.
Mhm.
This life offering will mostly be institutional. And of course, moving forward, that will really be what we're going to be seeking. So very, very difficult to say. And really, just to again, really strongly clarify, this poison pill is not we're not reacting to any action anyone
Right.
has taken. This is
Understood.
really just to protect all shareholders. We have had a number of shareholders reach out and just ask what we're doing in the event that we
Mhm.
would have, a bid towards an acquisition. And we just want to make sure that shareholders, large and small, have very fair treatment. And I would also point out that we will inevitably have a new poison pill for the US market. This is really
Mhm.
suited to Canada.
It was more designed for Canada. All right, I don't have a lot of other questions. Anything you'd like to add? What should we be looking forward to in the near term? We can look forward to the end of 2026 and have visions of something big coming down the road. But in the
Yes.
meantime, next month or two or three, what should we be looking for?
Well, I'm eagerly awaiting the government to open up again because this is we're waiting on a few things from them. But apart from that, to go back to this financing, I think it's just really great for us to see what we're going to be
Mhm.
able to do. So I guess stay tuned for us to grow the team. We do have a number of announcements that we are very excited about disclosing. And as we move to 2026, I know I've said this all year, but 2026 is really going to be our year. We
Mhm.
are very confident that we will be commercializing our technology throughout 2026. And I think that to be able to see this Austin headquarters open, to have this new large scale facility open, this is really our year of growth now.
Well, I'm really encouraged to see that Bloomberg is taking some note of you, and you're going to start getting more attention, I think, and especially when you come out with some of these patents that sort of fire up the imagination of people. I think that was pretty helpful to your shares when that patent announcement came out.
Mhm.
So I guess those are hard to predict, though. When are you going to get new patents?
Well,
But
we have a very strong pipeline of patents, so more
yeah,
to come.
really, yeah,
Mhm.
right. So it's very exciting, Kjirstin. Thank you so much for spending time with us again. You've been wonderful. You've been a big help to me and people that follow my work. So I'm very thankful to you and wish you all the best. So until we meet again, all the best to you.
Thanks for the support.
All right, folks, that's it for this week. I do hope to have Tom Eldgridge with me in a couple of weeks from now. Keep your eyes on your inbox for new announcements and who our next guests will be. Until we meet again, goodbye and God's blessings to you.